Gerald Hoffman stood on the bridge of the spaceship USS Valiant. He looked at the big screen in front of him. The message on the screen worried him. Gerald had been a space captain for 30 years. He had seen many strange things. But this message made him feel cold inside. "Play it again," he said, and his face showed no feeling. Susan Miller, who worked at the communications desk, nodded. She pressed a button. The message played again. A blue alien with 4 eyes appeared on the screen. The alien looked scared. "This is Ambassador Zexa Kra from the Galactic Cooperative. We are being attacked by the Voidborn Armada. Our defenses are failing. We need help right away. To any species who gets this message, and please help us." The message turned to static for a moment, then continued. "Be careful. The Voidborn eat all life. They never stop and show no mercy. Only those who know how to fight should come help. Peaceful. Species should run away to the safe place shown in this message." Gerald rubbed his gray beard and thought. "How many other species got this message?" he asked. "Based on how it was sent, about 200 species with space travel got it," Susan answered. "And how many have said they will help?" Susan checked her screen. Her fingers moved quickly across the glowing controls. "Just one, sir. Us, humans." Gerald was not surprised. Humans had a special reputation in space. They were not the most advanced species. They did not have the most people. But they had something that made other species afraid. They were very good at fighting wars. Humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we are going to help," Gerald ordered. "And get me Admiral Carter on the line." 1 hour later, the captain spoke to his crew from the bridge. "The Admiral says we can go. We will meet a special fighting team at Jupiter Station before we go to help the aliens. This is not a peace mission. We are going to war." As the USS Valiant changed course toward Jupiter, Gerald looked at the files of the team he would be taking. They were former Special Forces soldiers, war veterans, and military experts, the most deadly humans Earth had, and they were ready to help. The Jupiter station appeared ahead of them. It was huge against the background of the giant planet. The station was Earth's main military base in the solar system. It had the most advanced weapons and the deadliest soldiers. Gerald watched from the window as a small ship from the station connected to the Valiant. The door opened and 7 people walked in. They did not look very scary at first, but Gerald knew better. Commander Olivia Reyes stepped forward first. She stood straight and moved smoothly, even with the artificial gravity. She had been a Navy SEAL before joining the Space Force. She had killed more enemies than any other human in the last 100 years. Her dark hair was tied back tight, and her eyes scanned the room carefully. "Captain Hoffman," she said, giving a perfect salute. "Permission to come aboard with my team?" "Granted, Commander. Welcome to the Valiant." The others came in behind her. There was Andy Franklin, who knew how to make bombs out of almost anything. Kate Summers, who was so good with a sniper rifle that people called her Ghost. Her targets never saw her coming. William Carter was a former Marine who was an expert in fighting in zero gravity. The team also had the Delgado brothers, Miguel and Javier, who were experts in close fighting and moved like they could read each other's minds. Last was Dr. Ryan Porter, who was not only a good doctor but also knew a lot about alien bodies, especially how to find their weak spots. "Tell us what's happening, Captain," Commander Reyes said as they sat down in the ship's meeting room. Gerald turned on the display, showing the Galactic Cooperative's territory and where the Voidborn Armada was last seen. "The Cooperative has 17 species in it. They all have better technology than us, but none of them have our special skills," Gerald explained. "The Voidborn are something completely different. We don't know much about them, except that they have already destroyed 3 cooperative worlds." "Why us?" asked Kate, leaning forward. "There are species out there with better ships, better weapons." "But none with better warriors," said Reyes before the captain could answer. "Most advanced species stopped being violent long ago. They have had peace for thousands of years. While we have been getting better and better at war," added William with a grim smile. Gerald nodded. "Exactly. The cooperative needs soldiers, not just weapons. They need humans. Dr. Porter was looking at the information about the Voidborn. These creatures, they aren't just destroying. They're eating everything, living things, energy, everything. How long until we get to the fight? Miguel asked. 3 days at top speed, Gerald replied. You should use that time to get ready. You can use anything in our weapon room. As the meeting ended, Olivia stayed behind. Captain, you're not telling us everything. Gerald sighed. The cooperative, they have always seen humans as dangerous, unpredictable. They have kept us at a distance, limited where we can go in space. Now they need the very thing they've always feared about us. Our ability to be violent, Olivia said. Yes. And what happens after, if we win? Will they welcome us as heroes or fear us even more? Olivia's face hardened. We'll worry about that when we get there. First, we have to make sure there's still something to worry about. The USS Valiant flew through space at top speed for 3 days. During this time, Olivia Reyes and her team got ready for the coming fight. They cleaned their weapons, checked their special fighting suits, and studied what little they knew about. The Voidborn Andy Franklin sat in the ship's workshop making special bombs. He mixed chemicals with care. His hands were steady even though the materials could blow up if he made a mistake. How many more of those do you need to make? Asked Kate Summers. She was cleaning her long-range rifle nearby. As many as possible, Andy replied without looking up. We don't know how many of these things we'll face. Kate nodded. She understood. In their line of work, being ready was everything. She had been a sniper for 10 years. She knew that one bullet could make all the difference. In another part of the ship, the Delgado brothers were practicing close, fighting. Miguel and Javier moved like they were dancing. They had fought together for so long that they knew what the other would do before he did it. You think these aliens will bleed if we cut them? Javier asked, spinning a knife in his hand. Everything bleeds, Miguel answered, or at least everything can be killed. William Carter was in the zero-gravity training room. He floated in the air, moving with small bursts from his suit jets. He practiced using his weapons while floating. Fighting in space was not like fighting on the ground. There was no up or down. You could be attacked from any direction. Dr. Ryan Porter spent his time in the ship's science lab. He looked at the small amount of data they had on the Voidborn. Fascinating, he said to himself. They seem to be able to eat any kind of matter and turn it into energy. Captain Gerald Hoffman came into the lab. Found anything useful, Doctor? Porter looked up. Maybe. They consume everything, but they seem to prefer living things first. And they might have a hive mind. They all think as one. How does that help us? Gerald asked. If they all think as one, there might be a leader or central brain. If we find it and destroy it, the rest might stop working. Gerald nodded. Keep looking. Any advantage helps. On the bridge, Susan Miller called out to the captain. Sir, we're approaching the cooperative's territory. I'm picking up a signal. Gerald hurried to the bridge. Put it on screen. The blue alien appeared again. He looked even more worried than before. This is Ambassador Zexkra. Unknown vessel. Identify yourself. This is Captain Gerald Hoffman of the Earth vessel USS Valiant. We received your distress call and have come to help. The alien's 4 eyes widened. You are humans? Yes. We've brought our best fighters. Zexkra was quiet for a moment. We did not expect anyone to come, especially not humans. Our records show your species is violent. That's why we're here, Gerald said firmly. Sometimes violence is needed to stop violence. Zexkra nodded slowly. Yes, today that is true. The Voidborn have already destroyed 3 of our worlds. They are now attacking our home planet, Proxima 4. Can you reach these coordinates? We'll be there in 6 hours, Gerald promised. After the call ended, Olivia came to the bridge. They don't seem very happy to see us. They're afraid of us, Gerald explained. The cooperative has always kept humans at a distance. They think we're too dangerous. Well, they're right, Olivia said with a small smile. We are dangerous, just not to them. When the Valiant reached Proxima 4, they saw the true horror of what was happening. The once beautiful planet was partly covered in a strange black growth. In space around the planet, broken ships floated everywhere. The Cooperative's fleet had been destroyed. "Life signs?" Gerald asked. Susan checked her screen. "There are survivors on the planet. They're hiding in underground shelters, but the Voidborn are all over the surface." Olivia and her team gathered on the bridge. They wore their fighting suits, black armor that made them stronger and faster. "We need to land and establish a safe area," Olivia said, looking at the planet map. "Then we can push the Voidborn back and give the survivors time to escape." "There's a spaceport still held by cooperative forces," Susan said. "They're asking for immediate help. They won't last much longer." Gerald looked at Olivia. "Can your team handle this?" Olivia checked with her people. They all nodded. "We're ready, Captain. Let's go show these Voidborn what humans can do." The Valiant flew down to the planet. Through the windows, they could see the Voidborn clearly for the first time. They were huge black creatures with many arms. They moved across the land, eating everything they touched. "They're even uglier than I expected," William said. The ship landed at the spaceport. A small group of cooperative soldiers was making a last stand. Their blue skin was pale with fear and tiredness. Their once shiny armor was damaged and dirty. Olivia and her team left the ship. Their black suits made them look like shadows come to life. The cooperative soldiers stared at them with wide eyes. One blue alien stepped forward. You are the humans. You are so few." "I'm Commander Olivia Reyes. This is my team. We may be few, but we're the best Earth has to offer." The alien shook his head. "I am Captain Vex. We are thankful for your help, but the Voidborn are too many. We have lost thousands of soldiers already." "Then maybe you need better soldiers," Kate said, checking her rifle scope. Dr. Porter was looking at a dead piece of a Voidborn on the ground. Fascinating structure. They seem to absorb the properties of what they consume. Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud noise came from beyond the spaceport walls. "They're coming," Captain Vex said, his voice shaking. "A full attack wave." Olivia looked at her team. They all nodded, ready to fight. "Captain Hoffman will need air support. Everyone else get to safety. We'll hold them here." "You cannot," Vex cried. "There are too many." But the humans were already moving into position, quick and sure in their movements. As the first wave of Voidborn appeared on the horizon, Olivia spoke to her team on their private radio channel. "Remember your training. Move fast. Don't stay in one place. Don't let them predict what you'll do next." She loaded her gun. "And welcome to the fight of your lives." The Voidborn came like a black wave. There were hundreds of them moving fast across the ground. Each one was as big as a small car, with many arms that reached out to grab anything in their way. Olivia took a deep breath and fired her gun. The other humans did the same. Their weapons shot bright beams that cut through the first line of Voidborn. The creatures made a strange sound, like metal being torn, and fell to the ground. But more kept coming. "They're too many," shouted Captain Vex. The blue alien and his soldiers fired their weapons too, but their hands were shaking. "Keep moving," Olivia ordered her team. "Don't stay in one place." The humans spread out. They used the broken buildings and crashed ships as cover. Unlike the cooperative soldiers who stood in one place, the humans never stopped moving. They ran, jumped, rolled, and fired their weapons from different spots. Kate climbed to the top of a tall building. From there, she could see the whole battlefield. She aimed her rifle and fired. Each shot hit a Voidborn right in what looked like its center. The creatures fell one by one. The Delgado brothers fought side by side. When their guns stopped working, they pulled out their knives. They moved so fast that the Voidborn couldn't catch them. They cut off the creatures' arms and stabbed at their centers. William used his zero-gravity training even though they were on a planet. He jumped higher than a normal person could, shooting down at the Voidborn from above. When they reached for him, he was already gone, landing somewhere else. Andy threw his special bombs into the thickest groups of Voidborn. The explosions tore the creatures apart. But after each explosion, he saw something strange. The pieces of the Voidborn were moving back together, trying to reform. "Dr. Porter," he called on the radio. They can heal themselves. Porter was behind a broken wall, studying a dead Voidborn. Yes, I see that. But it takes them time. If we damage them enough, they stay down longer. Olivia fought her way to the center of the spaceport. A large Voidborn, bigger than the others, was coming straight for her. She fired her gun, but the creature didn't slow down. It had learned from the others' deaths and had grown a thick shell. Olivia waited until the last second, then jumped to the side. As the creature passed her, she threw a small disc onto its back. The disc beeped 3 times, then exploded. The Voidborn fell to the ground, its body split in half. But even as it lay there, the 2 halves were trying to pull back together. They adapt so quickly, Porter said over the radio. They learn from each attack. Then we need to change our tactics, Olivia replied. Everyone, switch weapons, use something different. The humans changed their strategy. When energy weapons stopped working well, they used regular bullets. When those became less effective, they switched to explosives. When nothing else worked, they fought with their hands and knives. The USS Valiant flew overhead, firing its big guns at the largest groups of Voidborn. Captain Gerald watched from the ship, amazed at what he saw. 7 humans were holding off an army of aliens that had destroyed entire worlds. They're incredible, Susan said, watching the battle on the ship's screens. Yes, Gerald agreed. This is why the cooperative called us. This is what humans do best. The fight went on for 6 hours. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the battlefield. The humans were tired. Their suits were damaged, but they kept fighting. Javier took a bad hit to his leg when a Voidborn grabbed him. William's arm was burned by the acid that one of the creatures spit at him. But they didn't stop. Finally, as darkness fell, the attack slowed. The Voidborn pulled back, retreating to the edges of the city. The humans had done what the cooperative thought was impossible. They had stopped the Voidborn advance. Captain, Vex walked slowly to where Olivia stood, catching her breath. His 4 eyes were wide with wonder. In all our history, he said, we have never seen fighting like this. Now I understand why your species was always feared. Olivia looked up at him. She was bandaging a cut on her arm. Being feared isn't the same as being bad, Captain. Sometimes being able to fight is necessary. Yes, Vex agreed quietly. Today, it was necessary. The humans regrouped at the center of the spaceport. They were all hurt, but alive. Andy passed out water and food bars from his pack. Kate kept watch from a high point, making sure the Voidborn didn't return. Dr. Porter was studying pieces of dead Voidborn that he had collected. What are you finding out? Olivia asked him. Something interesting, Porter replied. These creatures have a pattern to their movements. They aren't just attacking randomly. They're being directed. By what? I think they have a leader or at least a central brain. They operate like a hive mind. William joined them, holding his burned arm. So if we find this brain and destroy it, then all the Voidborn might stop working, Porter finished. Olivia nodded. This was the first real hope they had. We need to rest and make a plan. Tomorrow we find this brain and end this fight. As night fell completely, the humans took turns sleeping while others kept watch. From space, the USS Valiant kept its sensors aimed at the Voidborn, tracking their movements. In the darkness, the Voidborn gathered and seemed to be sharing information. They were learning from their defeats, changing their bodies to be stronger for the next attack. But the humans were planning too. And humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They knew that winning wasn't just about being strong. It was about being smart, and these humans were the smartest fighters Earth had ever trained. Morning came. The humans had rested as much as they could. They gathered in a small room in the spaceport building to make a plan. Dr. Porter showed them what he had found out about the Voidborn. These creatures all talk to each other, he said, pointing to a map he had drawn. But all the orders come from one place. He pointed to a spot that used to be an ocean. They built something there. I think it's where their leader is. The brain of the hive, Olivia said. If we destroy it, will all the Voidborn stop? They might not die, Porter answered, but they would be confused. They wouldn't work together anymore. That's our target then, Olivia decided. We need to get there and destroy this brain. Captain Vex shook his head. It's too far. The Voidborn control everything between here and there. We would never make it. William looked at the map more closely. What about these lines here? He was pointing to thin blue lines that cross the land. Those are water tunnels, Vex explained. They go underground. We use them to move water from the ocean to the cities. Could we use them to get to the ocean? Asked Kate. Vex's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Yes, I suppose we could, but many tunnels might be broken now. It's our best chance, Olivia said. The Voidborn won't expect us to come from underwater. They made their plan. The USS Valiant would fly above the city, shooting at the Voidborn to make them think the humans were attacking from above. Meanwhile, Olivia and her team, along with Captain Vex and a few of his soldiers, would go through the water tunnels to reach the ocean. Once we get there, Andy said, I can use special bombs to destroy the brain. And if that doesn't work? Asked Miguel. Olivia reached into her pack and pulled out a small tube. Then we use this. It's an antimatter bomb, very powerful. But we would only have 10 minutes to get away before it explodes. Vex looked shocked. Such weapons are not allowed by cooperative law. Good thing we're not part of your cooperative. Then, William said with a small smile. They started their mission just as the sun was fully up. The Valiant took off, flying low over the city. Its guns fired at the Voidborn, drawing their attention. Hundreds of the black creatures moved toward the ship, trying to reach it. Meanwhile, Olivia led her team to a hatch in the ground. It opened, to reveal a dark tunnel. They turned on the lights on their suits and climbed down. The tunnel was partly filled with water. It smelled bad, and the walls were covered in a black growth that looked like the outside of the Voidborn. Stay alert, Olivia warned. There might be small Voidborn down here. They moved through the tunnel slowly. The water sometimes came up to their waists. Captain Vex and his 3 soldiers looked scared, but they kept going. They had been walking for an hour when they heard a splashing sound ahead. Something's coming, whispered Javier. Everyone raised their weapons. From around a bend in the tunnel came 3 small Voidborn. They were the size of dogs, but had the same many arms and black bodies as the big ones. The humans fired their guns. The small Voidborn fell into the water dead. They know we're here now, Kate said. Move faster, ordered Olivia. They rushed through the tunnels. More small Voidborn came after them. 2 of Vex's soldiers were killed when the creatures jumped on them from the ceiling. Finally, after 3 hours of moving through the dark tunnels, they saw light ahead. They had reached the ocean. They came out onto a beach. The water, which used to be blue, was now black. And in the middle of the ocean stood a huge structure. It looked like a tower made of black jelly. It pulsed with a strange light. That's it, said Porter. The brain. They hid behind rocks and watched the structure. Large Voidborn moved around it, guarding it. How do we get in? Asked Vex. Olivia studied the structure. There, she pointed, near the water line. There's an opening. Andy checked his bombs. I have 6 charges. If we place them at the main support points, we can bring the whole thing down. Let's move, Olivia said. Stay underwater as much as you can. They waded into the black water. It felt thick and sticky. They used small breathing devices that Dr. Porter had made so they could stay under the water. They swam slowly toward the structure. The Voidborn guards didn't see them. When they reached the opening, they slipped inside. The inside of the structure was even stranger than the outside. It was like being inside a living thing. The walls pulsed with light. There were tubes running everywhere, carrying a glowing liquid. It's beautiful in a scary way, whispered Porter. Let's place the bombs and get out, Olivia said. Andy, show us where. Andy pointed to 6 spots around the central part of the structure. Put the bombs there, and there, he said. Set them to explode in 30 minutes. That should give us time to get away. They split up to place the bombs. William and Kate went to the left, the Delgado brothers to the right. Olivia, Andy, Porter, and Vex went toward the center. As they moved deeper into the structure, they found a large open area. Floating in the middle was a creature unlike the other Voidborn. It was much bigger, with what looked like many brains, visible through its clear skin. "The Overmind," Porter whispered, "the brain of all the Voidborn." They were placing the last bomb when an alarm sound echoed through the structure. The walls turned red. "They know we're here!" shouted Vex. Voidborn began to appear from the walls. They were different from the ones outside, smaller but faster. "Run for the exit," Olivia ordered. "Andy, set off the bombs." Andy pressed the button on his control. The bombs began to beep, counting down. They ran through the strange halls of the structure, fighting Voidborn as they went. William led the way, shooting any creature that got in front of them. The Delgado brothers protected the sides while Kate watched behind them. They were almost at the exit when a huge tentacle smashed through a wall. It wrapped around Andy's leg, pulling him back. "Go!" he shouted. "I'll hold them off." Miguel started to go back for him, but Kate grabbed his arm. "There's no time." Andy's screams followed them as they escaped the structure, diving into the black water and swimming as fast as they could toward the shore. The humans swam as fast as they could. Behind them, the Voidborn structure shook as Andy's bomb started to explode. Bright flashes of light lit up the black water. The noise was so loud that it hurt their ears. They reached the shore and collapsed, on the sand, breathing hard. They watched as the massive structure was hit by explosion after explosion. Parts of it fell into the water. The whole thing leaned to one side, but it did not fall. "It's still standing," William said in disbelief. "How is that possible?" Dr. Porter watched through a small telescope. "The structure is healing itself. The Overmind is redirecting its energy to repair the damage." Olivia made a quick decision. She reached into her pack and pulled out the small tube, the antimatter bomb. "We have one more chance." "What's your plan?" asked Kate. "I'll go back in," Olivia said. "I'll put this bomb right next to the Overmind. It's much stronger than Andy's bombs. It will destroy everything." "But you would never get out in time," Miguel protested. "You'd die too." Olivia looked at her team. They were all hurt. They were all tired, but they were still ready to fight. "I'll set it for 10 minutes. That should give me time to get out, but if I don't, it's worth it to stop these things." Before anyone could stop her, Olivia ran back into the water. She swam toward the damaged structure. The others watched, holding their breath. Captain Vex turned to William. "Your commander is very brave." "All humans can be brave," William replied. "When something matters enough." Olivia reached the structure and went back inside. She had to be careful. There were Voidborn everywhere now, trying to repair the damage from the first bombs. She moved silently through the broken halls. She reached the central chamber. The Overmind was still there, but it looked different now. It was glowing brighter, and it was moving more. It seemed angry. Olivia waited for her chance. When there were no Voidborn guards nearby, she ran to the base of the Overmind. She placed the antimatter bomb against it and pressed the button. A small screen on the bomb lit up showing 10 minutes. "For Andy," she whispered, and then she ran. Getting out was harder than getting in. The Voidborn seemed to know what she had done. They came after her in large numbers. Olivia shot some and dodged others. A tentacle caught her arm and cut it deeply. She ignored the pain and kept running. She had 3 minutes left when she reached the exit. She dived into the water and swam harder than she ever had before. Her lungs burned. Her wounded arm left a trail of blood in the water. On the shore, her team was getting worried. "She should be out by now," Javier said. "There," Kate pointed. A small figure was swimming toward them. "It's her." They waded into the water to help her. William and Miguel pulled Olivia out of the water. She was pale and weak from blood loss. "1 minute left," she gasped. "We need to get further away." They ran along the beach, getting as far from the structure as they could. When they couldn't run anymore, they fell to the ground and covered their heads. The explosion was unlike anything they had ever seen. A ball of white light grew from the center of the structure. It got bigger and bigger until it covered the whole building. For a moment, Everything was silent. Then came a sound, like the world breaking. The shockwave hit them, pushing them along. The ground. The heat was intense. The light was so bright that they had to close their eyes. When they looked again, the void-born structure was gone. Where it had stood was now a swirling hole in the water, slowly closing. Dr. Porter checked his scanner. The overmind is destroyed. It's really gone. William helped Olivia sit up. What about the other void-born? The ones in the city and all over? The planet? Porter checked his scanner again. They've stopped moving, they're just standing still like statues. Captain Vex's radio made a noise. It was his people back in the city. The void-born here have stopped attacking, the voice said. They're just standing there, what did you do? We cut off the head, Vex replied. The humans did it. When they returned to the city, they found a strange sight. The void-born were frozen in place. Some had fallen over. Others just stood like black statues. Without the overmind to direct them, they had shut down. The cooperative leaders had come out of their underground shelters. They looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and respect. The supreme leader of the cooperative, a tall being with crystal-like skin, approached them. You have done something amazing, she said. You have saved not just this world, but all worlds in the cooperative. Not all of us made it, Olivia said, thinking of Andy. His sacrifice will be remembered, the supreme leader promised. As will the special skills that your species brought to our aid. Captain Hoffman had landed the USS Valiant and joined them. Special skills that you used to consider dangerous, he pointed out. The supreme leader looked uncomfortable. We have much to think about regarding our relationship with humans. Your ability to fight is indeed scary, as we always thought, but we failed to see that such ability also brings courage, self-sacrifice, and a willingness to protect others. What happens now? Asked William. Now we rebuild, Captain Vex said. He was injured, but he would heal. And perhaps learn from each other. In the days that followed, they held services to honor those who had died, both human and alien. The USS Valiant prepared to return to Earth, carrying with it not just the survivors, but a new agreement with the Galactic Cooperative. The ship, Olivia stood with Captain Hoffman looking at the stars. Do you think they'll keep their promise? She asked. Treat us as equals now? I think they're still afraid of us, Hoffman answered honestly. But I also think they respect us. That's a start. And the next time some danger appears, will they call on the most lethal humans again? Hoffman smiled a little. Probably, and we'll answer again because that's what we do. We protect those who can't protect themselves. As the ship jumped to light speed heading back to Earth, Olivia thought about Andy, about all those who had died in humanity's long history of war. Their ability to fight had been created through thousands of years of conflict, but so had their determination to protect others from harm. Perhaps that was humanity's true gift to the galaxy, not just the ability to fight, but the will to fight for something more important than themselves.